discussion is transitional canine and premolar. The mixed dentition phase is divided into first transitional phase, intertransitional phase, and second transitional phase. Coming to intertransitional period, this is the stable phase where little changes takes place in the dentition. The teeth present are the permanent incisor, first molar, along with the deciduous canine and molar, as you see in this image. This phase prepares for second transitional phase. Some key features of this stage are as follows. Any asymmetry in emergence and corresponding difference in height level and crown length between the right and left side of teeth are made up here. Occlusion and interproximal wear of deciduous teeth causes occlusal morphology to approach the occlusion plane. Ugly ducking stage begins during this period. Root formation of emerged incisor, canine, and premolar continues, along with the concomitant increase in alveolar process height. Resorption of root of deciduous teeth occurs during this intertransitional period. Next phase is the second transitional phase. During this phase, exfoliation of primary molars and canine occurs, followed by eruption of permanent canine and premolar. Then the eruption of permanent second molar occurs, and finally establishment of occlusion. Eruption of permanent canine and premolar. These teeth erupt a pause of 1 to 2 years following the incisor eruption. The first posterior teeth to erupt are mandibular, canine, and first premolar at 9 to 10 years of age, followed by maxillary premolars and canine around 11 to 12 years of age. Then the second molars erupt. Most common erupting sequence in maxillary arch is the first teeth to erupt is the first premolar, followed by second premolar, and then canine. Whereas in mandibular arch, canine, first premolar, and then second premolar. Favorable occlusion in this region is largely dependent upon the following three criteria: favorable eruption of sequence, satisfactory tooth size available space ratio, attainment of normal molar relation with minimum diminution of space available for bicuspid. Coming to eruption of permanent canine. Mandibular canine erupt following the eruption of incisor at around 10 years. Maxillary canine usually erupt after the eruption of one or both the premolars at around 12 to 13 years. During the maxillary canine eruption, the event or that stage is called as an ugly duckling stage or a Broadman phenomenon, as it is explained by Brockett. Transient malocclusion with appearance of midline diastema and flaring of upper incisor is often observed to develop maxillary anterior region during 8 to 12 years of age. This corresponds to the eruption of permanent maxillary canine. Clinicians need to recognize it as a self-correcting malocclusion, and the anxious parents and children may have to be reassured. Here, the upper canine develop palatally but migrate labially to come to lie slightly labial and distal to the root apex of the lateral incisor. Thus, the erupting canine apply pressure on the apices of lateral incisor. The root of the lateral incisor displaces mesially, the resultant distal tilting of the crowns. Mesially displaced roots of the lateral incisor then apply pressure on the roots of maxillary central incisor. Root of the maxillary central incisor also get displaced mesially with the resultant divergence of their crown. It creates a big diastema between the two central incisors. This makes a children to have a crooked teeth and appear ugly. That is why this stage is called as ugly duckling stage of the tooth development. Coming to eruption of premolar, the important portion of dental arch in the development of occlusion is the premolar segment. This is because the eruption of premolars are significantly smaller in mesodistal dimension than the primary molars which they replace. Thus, during the eruption of premolar, major changes in occlusions are observed. The combined mesodistal crown dimension of the primary canine, primary first and the second molar is greater than the combined mesodistal crown dimension of their successors, namely permanent canine and premolars. The amount of space gained by this difference in the posterior segment is termed as leeway space of Nance. In the mandible, the combined width of the deciduous cuspid and the first deciduous molars and the second deciduous molars is approximately 1.7 millimeter per quadrant, which is greater on average than the combined width of canine and the first, second premolar teeth. In maxillary arch, combined width difference is only 0.9 per quadrant. So for a whole maxillary arch, leeway space of Nance is around 3.4 millimeter, and for maxillary arch it is 0.9 plus 0.9, that is 1.8 millimeter. Coming to its significance, leeway space in the mandibular arch is more than that of maxillary arch. This is because the primary mandibular molars are wider than the primary maxillary molars. The leeway space difference between the two arch causes the mandibular first molar to move mesially relatively more than the maxillary first molar. Such an arrangement causes a change in the molar relationship from end-on in early mixed dentition period to a class 1 at the late mixed dentition period. This whole event is termed as late mesial shift. This is an important event which takes place in the second transitional phase of mixed dentition to development. Next significance, presence of excessive leeway space is a favorable feature which provides for the mesial movement of permanent molar. Leeway space deficiency may have seen in some individual when the size of unerupted premolar and permanent canines are larger than the space available. Such event causes posterior crowding or lingual eruption of the permanent erupting teeth, especially the second premolars in the lower arch. These are the main events which takes place during the eruption of the canine and premolar. Next, during the second transitional period, the event which occurs is the eruption of permanent second molar, which will be explained in the further class. Thank you.